The year is 1900, Galveston, Texas. Imagine a city at the absolute peak of its golden age. Is the glittering jewel of the Gulf Coast, the Wall Street of the South. Mansions line the pristine beaches, children play in the warm September sand, and innovation is everywhere. But close your eyes and picture that same paradise just 24 hours later. Over 8,000 souls gone, homes turned to splinters, a prosperous city entirely erased from the map in a single merciless night. This wasn't just a storm, it was the deadliest natural disaster in the history of the United States. A tempest so sudden and so violent that it forever changed how America understood the wrath of nature. But to truly understand the sheer terror of that night, we have to go back to the days before the sky turned black. It all began in the first week of September. For the residents of Galveston, the weather seemed nothing more than a late summer annoyance. Back then, there were no satellites, no radar screens pulsing with red and yellow warnings. The U.S. Weather Bureau was in its infancy, relying on ship reports and telegraphs. Down in Cuba, forecasters had noticed a powerful disturbance brewing, but their warnings were largely dismissed. Isaac Klein, the chief meteorologist in Galveston, observed the heavy swells crashing against the shore and the strangely colored sky. By the morning of September 8th, the water was already spilling into the streets. Children were actually playing in the flooded roads, splashing in the unusually high tide. Nobody knew that a monster carrying winds of 140 miles per hour was barreling straight toward their doorstep. By mid-afternoon, the amusement turned into absolute dread. The wind didn't just howl, it screamed like a freight train tearing through the sky. The bridges to the mainland, the only escape routes, were washed away, trapping nearly 40,000 people on a narrow sandbar just feet above sea level. Then came the storm surge. A wall of water, estimated to be over 15 feet high, slammed into the coastline. Imagine being in your living room as the ocean simply burst through your front door. People scrambled to their second floors, then to their roofs, praying the timber would hold. But the water brought with it a devastating battering ram. The wreckage of other destroyed homes on slate roofs and grand pianos, all churning in a massive, deadly whirlpool. Houses didn't just flood, they were pulverized like matchsticks. Families tied themselves together with rope, hoping that if they were swept into the raging black water, they would at least stay together. For hours in the pitch dark, the survivors clung to floating debris, listening to the agonizing sound of their city being torn apart piece by piece. The temperature dropped, the rain felt like flying glass, and the sheer terror of that long night is something no history book can fully capture. When dawn finally broke on September 9th, the storm had passed, but the nightmare was just beginning. The bright morning sun revealed a landscape that looked more like a war zone than a city. A mountain of debris, 3 miles long and 2 stories high, cut directly through the center of the island. Underneath it lay the heartbreaking toll of the tempest. Somewhere between 8 and 12,000 people had perished. The survivors emerged from the wreckage in torn clothes, shivering, completely cut off from the rest of the world. There was no fresh water, no food, and no telegraph lines to call for help. Yet, in the midst of this unimaginable grief, the true spirit of the American people emerged. Neighbors who had lost everything began digging through the rubble with their bare hands to save strangers. Martial law was declared to keep order, but it was the quiet resilience of the locals that saved the city. They didn't abandon their home. Instead, they performed an engineering miracle. Over the next decade, they raised the entire elevation of the city by jacking up the surviving buildings and pumping in sand from the sea floor, and they built a massive seawall that still stands today, a concrete shield against the unpredictable ocean. The Galveston hurricane of 1900 remains a haunting reminder of our vulnerability, but also a testament to human endurance. It showed that even when the earth and sea rise up to destroy us, Communities can rebuild from the absolute zero of tragedy. It is a story of those who were lost and those who refuse to be broken. Do you have family roots in Texas or ancestors who lived through the trials of the early 20th century? What stories of survival against nature's fury have been passed down in your own family? Let us know in the comments below. Your history is America's history, and we want to hear it.